Hey guys, welcome to the Homegrown Hopes podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin Etheridge, and today I'm joined by my best friend, Mandy Nix.
Thank you.
You probably, if you've listened to the podcast for any amount of time, Mandy has been on the show a couple of times.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, she's just one of those. I'm like, hey, can you just plan to be on the podcast next week? And she's always up for some fun. That's why we work so well together. Mandy is also the co-host of the Holistic Homestead Conference, which is a homesteaders conference that we host coming around again.
Second year.
Yes. And so we'll talk about that a little bit today, I'm sure. But the reason that you're on today is because your business, Healing Nutrition, is the sponsor of this season of the podcast. And so you've probably heard the commercial about all of the things that Mandy offers, but I kind of want to dive into it a little bit deeper because I'm interested in it. Like, that's why I cover topics on this show. Homesteaders, listen up. Are you ready to take control of your health and find real answers that address the root cause of your concerns? Let me introduce you to Healing Nutrition, a private nutrition practice that's all about supporting your journey to better health with whole foods and personalized care. At Healing Nutrition, Mandy Nix, a fellow homesteader and functional registered dietitian, is here to support you with weight loss and sustainable lifestyle changes, managing diabetes, prediabetes, and thyroid issues, gut health, and improving digestion. You might recognize Mandy as the owner of Henry River Farms. That is where we host the Holistic Homestead Conference. Mandy and her family grow and raise their own food, making whole, natural eating a way of life. Her passion for fresh, nutrient-rich foods shines through in her work, helping clients connect their health goals with real, sustainable nutrition. Mandy also offers nutrition testing, like food sensitivity and nutrient deficiency testing, to cover the why behind your symptoms. And it doesn't stop there. Healing Nutrition's Katrina Detter, another experienced dietitian, specializes in weight management, PCOS support, helping you build a healthy relationship with food. Here's the best part. Most insurance plans cover nutrition counseling with a dietitian at 100%. That means you can get personalized support without the extra cost. If you're ready to feel your best and align your health journey with the whole food lifestyle that you love, visit mandynixnutrition.com or call 828-513-0217 to book an appointment and learn more. Healing Nutrition, rooted in whole foods, rooted in health. Go check them out today and take the first step toward a healthier whole food lifestyle. But I just think it's so interesting. So you are a functional dietitian.
Yep.
Yes.
Functional dietitian.
So what exactly does that mean? What is a functional dietitian?
Yeah. So, a dietitian provides nutrition therapy for disease. A functional dietitian is a more whole body, like root cause approach. So
I love that.
Yeah.
About this.
I worked at a hospital for about 10 years. And then I started the practice about 4 years ago. Has it been 4 or 5 years? So that I could do more of a functional approach to nutrition, which is what I'm passionate about, what I believe in. So the practice, yes, I consider myself a functional dietitian, even though, I worked in the hospital for years and years and years. But that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in the hospital, thank goodness.
That's why you're not working in the hospital anymore.
Yeah. It's a whole body approach. I mean, just seeing clients for everything from weight management, diabetes, thyroid disease, hormones, insulin resistance, PCOS. Nutrition is, and I know I'm biased because I'm passionate about nutrition, but it's the biggest part of healing disease.
Absolutely.
I think I read a study, like over 90% of diseases are nutrition related.
How?
I mean, everything from hormone balance to liver health to heart disease to diabetes. It's what you're eating. So
that makes sense. And I think, we were kind of saying for years, I've been like labeled as crunchy or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll wear it with a badge of honor because all these conspiracy theories are just becoming facts at this point. But I do think that there is a definite shift happening where people are taking it more seriously. Like, obviously the food that we eat has an effect on our health. That just seems like a no-brainer, I guess, because you and I have in our own lives, I'm not a dietitian, but in our personal lives have really deep dove into this, especially when we had kids. That was kind of a catalyst for me. I'm really excited to see the shift of like that's becoming a more mainstream thought.
Yeah. I hear so many times clients will come from doctors like, they looked at my labs and everything looks good. Or just like somebody comes in with diabetes and there's just a protocol. Here's your medication. Here's metformin. That's what we do when you get diabetes. The fact that lifestyle is not even, and I understand, I'm not anti-doctor. I understand that they don't learn nutrition, but no lifestyle talked about. It's here's your medication. This is the protocol we'd use. And there's some great doctors, don't get me wrong, that will talk about like, well, if you lost some weight or cleaned up your diet.
Across the board.
Yeah, it's not. I work with some really great medical doctors who are we're like, hey, this is outside my scope, but you need to see a dietitian.
Right.
And then some are just like.
And that's where you come into play. Doctors will refer patients to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Self referrals, doctor referrals, both. But lifestyle should be part of your medical care. So if you go to the doctor and they tell you everything's fine, give you medication, I don't think that's great care. It's not.
There needs to be a conversation around it at least. And some of that has to be patient-led, I feel like.
Yes, it's not always the doctor's fault.
Patients want to talk about that.
No.
They just want to say a quick fix. And
yes.
Changing your diet is not necessarily a quick fix.
You're 100% right. Work. I actually want to back up and like, it's not the doctor's fault, actually. Like, you get a patient that comes in, they do want the quick. They want the Ozempic, the majority.
Right.
I don't want to. What's that quote? You don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Oh. And I just thought that's like, and even
like that.
A lot of people even come to me like, just make me a diet plan, tell me what to do, and I'll do it. That's where like it's about habit changing. Get to like, why do you have diabetes? Why do you have thyroid issues? Why do you have hormonal imbalance? Yes. But a lot of people, even with me, or sometimes, and it is so much more detailed than you just tell me what to eat and I'll do it. But even when they go to the doctors, people are just a lot of people. So it's not doctor's fault. Not at all. I mean, a lot of people are just, I want a quick fix.
And that's the culture that we live in. I think I read something the other day and it was talking about how convenience is just killing us all because it's the quick fix. Give me a pill for it. But I do think, like I said, there's a shift coming. So you said some people are referred by their doctors and some people are self-referral. So you can do either way. You are covered by insurance, which is amazing.
Well, most people don't know that.
I didn't know that until we started talking about this.
Most insurances cover nutrition counseling 100%. I'm like,
amazing.
Use your benefits and not just like that. To me is what healthcare is about. Preventative care. So that's something they consider preventative care. You make that part of your health care. Make it part of your health care.
Right.
I actually believe
body approach.
Yes. I would like a good chiropractor, dietitian, a medical doctor. I mean, like these things it's not a one avenue.
They're not isolated.
Yeah.
It is a whole team approach. I love that. And I think that's really important. I think that we're starting to see that more. So what does it look like obviously it's going to be different for every person depending on what their needs are, but just a general, what are some of the services that you offer? What does a sit down with you look like? Because I know what it looks like just because every time we're together, I'm like, listen, this is what.
Did you get your A1C done? You don't even know your blood. Come on.
So we were talking one day about blood sugar. We were actually grocery shopping at the Homestead Conference last year. And anytime we're together, it's without children. Not that we don't love our children, but it's like a brain dump. Like, why did I do this? Everything has to come out at once. And we got to talking about blood sugar. I was like, I have no idea. I've never even thought about my blood sugar. And Mandy still has not let me live that down.
But you did.
Apparently it's important.
We got to look at your labs.
Yeah, I do. For another time. We won't do that here. But to say, I've seen the friend unprofessional side. Not that you're unprofessional with me, but I just ask you and you tell me things.
But I love it.
Right. Like, I have a feeling that's how you are in your business too. Not unprofessional, but just you're so personable and get to know
that's very
people.
Very kind, but you don't go into start your own practice if you don't love it. I mean, I just think you gotta I really think I'm so grateful. It was life changing for me being overweight, pre-diabetic, eating Pop-Tarts for breakfast. It was life changing for people along the way that were just coached me or just taught me
So you had a history that led you into.
Oh, yeah.
I know we've talked about this in
Yeah.
the episode. For maybe for people who don't know, you found out in your 20s you were pre-diabetic.
Yes, pre-diabetic. And my dad has diabetes. Uncles have diabetes. I mean, like it's, yeah, overweight, pre-diabetic. So yeah, I mean, that's what led me here. It's not just
you didn't just fall into it.
No, yeah,
history.
No, not at all. And seeing others in my family, seeing my dad suffer since I'm almost 40 now, but since I was a little girl, morbidly obese, diabetes, just, it breaks my heart. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to live that way. I just want a better quality of life.
Right.
So, yes, that definitely led me here.
And so, if I were to come and see you as a patient and not just me, what would the general idea? What are some services you offer? What does that look like?
Well, first, I really gather just a background. Like I'll bring your labs. That's very important if you have any labs. So we first kind of dive into that, mainly because there's medical range and optimal range. And I hear so often patients will say, my doctor said everything looks good, but I don't have any energy. I don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I dive deeper into the labs of well, I see your vitamin D is technically within normal limits, but you're not going to thrive just being barely at normal limits. So dive deep into the labs that we're given. And then if I will talk a little bit if there's any functional labs I feel like you could benefit from.
That makes sense. Because often, me as a nobody, I don't even know what to ask for. So I was like, what do I
Yeah. And you only get so much. And it gives us good information to always start there. Hey, bring your labs. That way we can see if there's any red flags. And I'm not looking for barely within normal limits. I'm looking for optimal levels. And so
you can also order those labs yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's important for people to know. So they don't have to go to their doctor first. If they're self-referred, they can come to you, sit down, and you can say, this is what I think you need.
Yes. But I would recommend getting those basic labs at your doctor because it is covered. Labs are not covered with me. Nutrition counseling is. But so I do recommend, hey, get the basic, get the works at the doctor.
Okay.
And we'll review
for the patient.
Yeah. And then we'll review them, see if there's any red flags. And then if I feel like they could benefit from a deeper dive, like micronutrient testing. Say I have a diabetic and, I would look at things. I wonder what your chromium is, what's your magnesium. Those affect insulin levels. So it's just I'm I think you could benefit from a micronutrient. If it's a thyroid patient, have you ever had your iodine checked? I mean, there'd be some labs. There's labs that I would recommend. My GI patients, a gut health test. So we would talk if I felt like you could benefit from that. So just getting a health background. I mean,
which is amazing because you take, not that anyone else does, and I'm not bashing medicine, blanket statement, but you really take the time. It's not a quick in and out. You're getting the patient's history.
Yes, I think you have to.
It's important.
You have to
give that step.
Yeah, first it's about an hour session, but the first 30 minutes is, why are you here? What's your health goals? What's your nutrition concerns? Tell me about what you've done in the past. How do you feel? So it's just let's gather all the information. So, sorry. Is it going that way?
I think so.
Review.
So professional. I think the setup.
Sorry, professional.
Where does that plug in? I hope the sound's working.
I don't know. I hope this records. We'll just do it again.
It's a screen. Yeah. Okay.
So gathering all the information on the initial session, kind of learning what does the patient want. Let's just start there. Whether it's thyroid disease, the hormone balance, weight management, whatever it be. So we discuss the background, where we're at. Then we just dive into the diet. Of course, talk to me about what you're currently eating. So I kind of get a diet recall, learn your normal patterns, and then we start to make a plan.
Okay.
A nutrition plan. And then any supplements that they can benefit. I like to test before I recommend supplements, whatever deficiencies you have, you probably need a supplement, or we'll talk diet of what you need more or less of. So we start the plan. But I usually meet with patients bi-weekly, at least once a month, because
for an extended period of time, because
for at least 3 to 6 months, at least. Yeah. So we start the process of creating a nutrition supplement lifestyle plan based on your disease management or whatever your goals are. So we start the plan, and then we meet every 2 weeks to, how's it going? Do you feel confident in how to eat for your situation?
What are your hurdles here?
Yeah, so a lot of it's accountability.
I was about to say you're great. That's a great accountability thing. If I knew that I was going to talk to a professional in 2 weeks, I would probably be more likely to
and
stick to the plan.
changing habits are not easy.
Right. It takes forever.
It takes yeah, it does. I mean, and that's it's not a one and done, like, okay, eat this, not that, see you later.
Right.
That never works. Here's your diet plan, good luck. It's meet back in 2 weeks. Like we kind of get a foundation of like, this is, if they have Crohn's, for example, or IBS or whatever it be, I have protocols and testing. So we create an individualized plan and then meet regularly of how's your symptoms. So maybe it's food sensitivity testing and micronutrient for an IBS sufferer.
Okay.
So we start to learn, okay, what foods do we need to remove? What foods are you sensitive to? So there's a plan, but then there's this accountability. We check, like, how do we make this forever for you? The best diet you can be on is the one you can commit to for life.
Right.
It's not
it's your like realistic lifestyle goals.
Because what I prescribe for a 20-year-old man is probably not going to be the same for a 50-year-old woman.
Right.
With kids, it's going to be two different approaches, but we can still reach your health goals in a different approach.
Right.
I mean, you just kind of need.
It's so cool. Like everything's personalized.
Yes, I think it has to be. Or what? How can you commit to something? Yeah,
right.
It's not. Yeah, it's not.
Very unique. Very unique thing.
And so much more the nutrient. Like, how are your sleep patterns? What's your physical activity look like? What's your stress like? I mean,
well, that's like I had my friend Christy on last season, and she is a registered nurse who is a functional counselor, and she mentioned that her first session or whatever, she'll even ask like, well, what's your home life like, your spouse? And I don't know why, but I just thought, oh yeah, that totally makes sense, because if we're not getting along, I'm not chill.
Yeah.
That adds stress to my life, which is a snowball effect. So I just thought it was really interesting that she was like, yeah, of course I ask about, like, how's your relationship with your spouse? They don't have to tell me. I'm not going to pry, little things like that. What's your activity level? What are you sleeping like? That I feel like is easy to get overlooked if you're just trying to fix.
Sure. And stress alone can cause IBS. Even poor sleep can cause hormonal issues. So you need to know the full. That's where I think when you get a nutrition lifestyle background, you need to know
so much more than just what are you eating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a whole gamut of things. Okay, so what are you mentioned the testing. Are there any other? I know I've done something really cool at your office. Do you want to mention that?
Yeah, I love that.
I didn't even devise this until I was at her office a few weeks ago, and I had to use the restroom in the back. I was like, what is it?
It just looked kind of crazy.
It does look a little crazy. You don't have to hang upside down. But I would. Okay, so what are some of the cool classes?
I do. I mean, functional testing for one is awesome. I think of stool testing for parasites and
gosh, we could do
GI testing.
I haven't even dove into that.
So testing is awesome because you find out so much more. You can make an individualized plan. If I knew you were deficient in B12, so testing is great to make individualized plans, and it gives you, the provider, more insight about that person. So functional testing is a big part of the practice. But the device that you're talking about is called the InBody, and I love it. It's really more for my weight management patient. No, not really. So it measures your fat percentage, muscle mass, and the importance of that is let's say it is a weight loss client. I always say the goal is not weight loss. The goal is fat loss, preserve muscle mass. So many times we're like, I just want to lose weight. I'll lose weight. When I have a client that maybe is doing a really low calorie or maybe on Ozempic and they're doing these extreme diets and their muscle is just wasting and they're losing weight and they're excited. There's weight loss and then there's healthy weight loss. And weight loss, and for one, extreme diets are just, you're on that vicious cycle. Lose 25 pounds, gain 30 back. 25. I have just not sustainable and on that forever just cycle. And I know so many women want to be free of that. And I always think, isn't it best to lose like 25 pounds over a year and a half and keep it off forever over losing it in 3 months only to gain back 30.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so I get a lot, just those history of yo-yo dietings and doing extreme things. But anyways, the InBody is great because it shows where your muscle mass is, which is your longevity tool. I mean, I could talk all day about the benefits of muscle, and I'm not talking about like muscle
bodybuilding.
Yes, like
no.
that is not even close to why we need.
Well, especially for women in bone health. We've talked
Yes.
about this. I mean, muscle is very, very
estrogen balance. Your longevity tool is your muscle mass. So first, I kind of like to, and I actually love for all clients to get on it, whether you're there for weight management or not. It more of like, where's your muscle mass at? So we have kind of a foundation. So if with our like physical activity goals, we can like, do we need to work a little more on strength training? And the device is really cool because it can show like, if you have more muscle in your legs and maybe need to work on your arm.
Like left leg versus right leg. It was fascinating.
It's so cool. That way you can even cater your physical, like maybe you need to work a little more on lower body, like just, incorporate some more lunges, kind of squats, because it looks like that's a little weaker area.
Right.
So it gives you so much data about your body. So I love that device. I also have a device. It's called RMR device, and it's a breath device. You breathe in it, and it measures your oxygen, carbon dioxide to tell you how many calories you burn at rest.
Which is fascinating.
Yes, and
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, I love it too.
Yeah.
Because you can know exactly how many calories are you burning at rest. And the importance of that, like we have formulas that can give us educated guesses. Like maybe you're burning like 1,300. So for a weight management client, that's really important to know. Like we would base your macro needs on truly how much you're burning at rest instead of like just a formula like we learn in school, formulas, which are close, but they're not accurate.
Yeah.
Not, so
yeah.
That's the other device in office, but those, they're awesome to give you that individual insight. And I think it's something like with functional providers, functional doctors, dietitians, using tests to really help create your protocols.
Your personalized
protocol.
Yeah, that's really what sets it apart.
Yeah. And then I really am passionate about a whole foods approach to get there, and not just let's put you on a 1,400 calorie diet to get you to weight loss.
Right. Like what's in those 1,400 calories really matters. And that's, I mean, your background, that's your life. I mean, you've really evolved. She lives on a farm. They grow their own, raise their own animals for meat. They have a garden and a cow. And so how does that apply to your life? I mean, you've jumped all the way in.
Yeah. Well, and it over, and I think like, over 15 years time, it's definitely, but
it didn't happen overnight.
And I use that word so many times, like a whole foods approach. And I didn't realize maybe that we throw that word around and don't know. But I had a client ask me, she's like, you really can't get whole foods in Morganton. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? She's like, the grocery stores don't have whole foods. I was like, that's not like starting the produce, head on to the meat, head to your eggs and yolk,
so that is one of those like buzzwords.
It's a whole food. Exactly. Like, I know this sounds crazy. I always think if you can kill it or grow it.
Yeah.
But like, what were your ancestors eating 200 years ago? Like animal proteins, vegetables in season, fruit in season, what they could grow. So seasonal eating, and like North Carolina was not eating avocados 200 years ago. I'm a big avocado fan, but I'm just, in Florida, they're probably eating a lot more citrus 200 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, but Whole Foods, like what can those outside aisles, but
kind of shopping the ingredient.
Yeah.
Rather than the processed end product.
For sure. And how do you do that in real life? Like,
it's a slow process for it, you said you ate Pop-Tarts for breakfast. Like, Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
Oh, I got low-fat Pop-Tarts when I was trying to lose weight. That's how messed up. I didn't know, just right. Well, it just is so. Did I? So,
which I do think that those processed foods for us growing up were probably even processed with different ingredients than they are now.
Sure,
a different level.
Yeah,
I like to tell myself that anyway. But it, for us that grew up like that, And my mom did cook every night. We weren't always eating, like Easy Mac or anything like that. But when you become an adult, it's kind of like, oh gosh, what do I cook? What
Yeah.
figuring it out. So Whole Foods can be a little bit scary, I guess.
Yeah. And I don't think I realized
cook.
you have, and look, growing up in the 90s, I just think sugar wasn't like processed foods were like my dad grew up on a farm, old school. Everything was kind of Whole Foods. You didn't have to think about it.
Right. My dad
They had chicken, hog.
until he was grown and out of the home.
Yeah. My dad said he didn't know what pizza was, macaroni and cheese.
Never had soda.
And so I just think you didn't have to think about it. But now it's like, we grew up in the 90s. I mean, I could go to the pantry anytime and get a snack cake.
Yes. Anytime.
It was just processed convenience food to working parents out of the home. Like, pack your lunch, bologna and cheese on white bread with a snack cake and what's those little Mondo or fruit juice?
Oh, with the peel top? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It was just normal. And I don't think we were even thinking like, this is not good for my kids. I think our parents meant well, but it was just, that's what the 90s.
You only know what you know. Yeah, for sure. So, and like I said in the beginning, it's kind of a culture shift for us right now, but I do think that the Whole Foods and, farm to table, shop local, all of that is becoming a whole lot more prevalent than it was when we were kids.
Yeah.
So if you were answering that client, you said shop in the perimeter of the store. What about eating seasonally? What does that look like? What are some tips for that?
Yeah. Which, today we have anything you want.
Because I'm not giving up avocado.
Yeah. But I definitely do I buy tomatoes off season? No. They're pale. They don't taste good.
No, they don't.
So, I think the farmer's market is the best way because they're only going to have what's in season. And you can rest assured that like Morganton, where we're at, is only going to have, those farmers are in Morganton. They're only going to grow and pick, like they don't have storage, like these huge.
It's not traveling across the country, across the world.
So I think that's just step one.
Yeah.
And shopping there.
Part of it is a mindset shift too of, you said your tomatoes don't taste as good out of season. So we're not going to be doing fried green tomatoes in February or so
a lot less nutrients because they're picked
for
the right and then stored. So you're missing half the nutrients in
there too of like, well, I really, really love a tomato sandwich, but I'm not having that until the tomatoes are ripe in the summer. Like that's an exciting thing for us. With that first tomato sandwich, and I do like go.
Oh, and nothing beats a tomato, like a homegrown tomato. I could bite into one of those.
Oh, we'll just snack on them like hot in the middle of the day when.
But a pale, hard tomato?
Yeah. Yeah. So you really do trade quality you're just more selective about when you do eat those quality items.
Yes. Because I know too in the back of my mind, like that doesn't have as many nutrients. You're eating those foods for them. They taste good. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of that's how I get my vitamin C and my B and my zinc and my chromium, all these things. And it's like, when they're out of season and just stored for months on end in cold storage,
the nutritional value.
Nutrients.
Yeah, and that makes sense. If you're eating food to nourish your body, then it makes sense to eat the freshest food.
Yeah. I think we're designed to, like, in the winter months, like stews and warm foods are actually more beneficial. I don't know enough to dive into that, but I've read a little bit of just how we are really made, like, in the winter to eat more hot food and broth.
My episode that I did last week, which this one probably won't come out this week. It'll be a couple weeks. But last week I talked about like really embracing the winter season. And that means like warmer foods, the stews and meats and potatoes. And, we're not going to eat like that in the summertime. Ain't nobody in this house eating a stew in July.
No.
But I think that our bodies are made, like you said, to need different things in different seasons.
Yeah. We are genetically designed still like our ancestors. The problem we have anything we want at all times, high sugar diet, but our ancestors were eating different foods in the winter and they had a lot, just like they didn't have produce much in the winter. I mean, it'd been a lot of like deer and bison and probably cooked. So just a very broth and meat and the root vegetables. But
it's probably, like you said, it would be interesting to do a deep dive into like how your body needs different nourishment during different seasons and even like through our entire lifespan needs different things. Like you said, 20-year-old versus 50-year-old. We need different things at different times based on our hormones and all those things. So, man, just being able to sit down with somebody, and say, this is where you're
so much to learn. I've been a dietitian for almost 15 years and I've learned I was looking at my patients the other day, like I was And we saw over 1,500 patients. That's a lot, and you learn a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny. You almost see the same things a lot and then a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But you just learn a lot by just individual care and hearing people's stories and, it's just, I love it. I mean, it's just
well, you have to love it. I mean, you have an incredible practice, and I had a train of thought and it's left me at this point. I think I was just going to say, really being able to see that many different patients and give them the personalized care probably really helped. I mean, you're continuing your education throughout the years. I think that's one thing my misconception when I was younger is like, well, you learn this and then you check it off and you're done. But we're constantly making new advancements and new research is coming out. So I love that you're always like learning more.
Yeah. I think any provider, your doctor, your functional doctor, should always be like, they should have want to always learn. Yes, I think that makes you an expert in your field, but also to be more humble of okay, that didn't work, or let's try something else, or I learned this, always learning.
Yeah.
Is a beautiful thing.
Special.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know, just looking at, like you said, 10 years ago, even 15 years ago, where you were and where you are now, like we were talking about this. When my child was born, who's 11 now, I need to grow my own food. And, all the things got to be healthier for him. And now here we are 11 years later hosting a homestead conference and facilitating this. It's so exciting.
I can't wait. That's something so special too, of just, where you're out in your journey. Just, it's
exciting.
Yes.
So if you would like to contact Mandy, you can absolutely do that. I will have all of her information in the show notes. You probably also heard her commercial at some point in this episode talking about healing nutrition. You can visit her website, is it Mandy Nix Nutrition?
MandyNixNutrition.com. Healing Nutrition was taken. So I couldn't use that one.
Mandy, Nix Nutrition.com, but that will again be in the show notes. And you do in-person and virtual visits.
Yep.
So if they're listening out of our area, they can still contact you. And another thing I was going to say is, if this interests you at all, Mandy and I are teaching a class at the Homestead Conference this year.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. We started outlining it, but it's going to be called Nutrition. What is it? Nutrition on the Homestead?
Yeah. No. That's what we decided. Or Homesteading Nutrition. I think we went back and forth.
It's going to be about nutrition on the homestead, and basically kind of deeper diving into seasonal eating and growing your own food. We're going to talk about raw dairy.
Yeah.
Just kind of the gamut of what that practically looks like and how it's really easy to overcomplicate it. We've talked about this.
Yeah. Keeping it simple.
Put a protein on the plate.
Yeah.
Could have helped,
We've lost sight of I hear that all the time, what am I supposed to eat? That's I love walking people through that, but just
don't overcomplicate it.
Don't overcomplicate it. Yeah. And why do most homesteaders, I would think most homesteaders, nutrition is important. They're wanting to feed their family well.
Right. So that's a lot of people's why. That is the reason.
Starts, I want to feed my family well.
Yeah. And the options can be limited because convenience food is so convenient. So anyway, if you're interested in diving into this topic more, we will be teaching this class at the Holistic Homestead Conference. That's on May 17th at Mandy's farm.
Yes, Henry River Farms
in
Morganton.
And you can check out the website for that. It's in the show notes also, holistichomesteadconference.com. We're going to have all kinds of classes. What classes are we going to have?
Functional medicine is back.
Oh, yeah.
Herbalism.
We're going to be making tinctures. Mandy's mom is an incredible herbalist who I would just follow around, learning a tenth of what she knows.
I wish I knew a tenth of what she knew.
Incredible. So she's going to be teaching the herbalism class.
Yeah. Beginning homestead.
Oh, yeah. How the foundations of homestead. Alternative pest control in the garden. Yes. Chicken butchering.
So you want animals. I just love that. I love that class.
Local extension agent is going to be coming and teaching all about animals on the homestead, practically, what kind of fence you would need for sheep and what sort of layout you might want to raise pigs. Just really diving in. He is so knowledgeable about all that. I'm really excited. My problem is I want to be in all of the classes.
I know.
Maybe
we'll record it one year. But
yeah.
microgreen sourdough, which I think are awesome for like maybe you don't have a lot of acreage. What yeah.
Off-grid living.
Oh,
We have that
yeah.
class. Else. We have a lot. We have a lot of classes.
The Q&A this year, which we
That
did not
is
have
the-
last year.
Yes, at the end of the day. So it's going 9 to 4. So at 3 o'clock, all of the instructors are coming together and we're going to have a question and answer panel. So obviously all of our classes are about an hour long and they're very interactive. So at the end, if you have a question for the instructor, you can ask. But if they didn't get to you throughout the day or you think of something else, we're all going to come together.
Bring your questions.
Yeah. And everyone's coming from all over. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And these are experts in their field.
They are.
I mean, they've been there, done that. And I think that's the importance of a conference, like learning from the people that's been there, done that, the little inside, the things that you can't get by just reading a blog. Yeah.
Right. And that was something that was really important to us when we started reaching out to instructors. Just leave it out, I think. When we started reaching out to instructors, we were like, I really want people who have walked the walk and can say, oh, you don't want to put in that kind of fence. So just firsthand experience. So we will have the Q&A panel. That's going to be fun. And a farm to table lunch. Our chef, Jeremy, is coming back this year. Last year was awesome. So we're going to have local meat, local produce, and all. Yeah. It's going to be so good.
That drink he did last year.
Sumac thing or lemonade. Either one. I don't know. It was like wild sumac berries. I guess you call it berries.
So good.
It was so good. Yeah. I'm still thinking about the biscuit.
And I'm gluten-free. And those biscuits.
Okay. So if you would like to join us for the farm to table lunch, that is the VIP ticket. So there's an option. What did you tell me the other day we called it? It's the lecture plus
farm to table plus lectures.
Okay. Ticket. So you get access to all of the classes all day long, the farm to table lunch, and also all of our vendors. We have some really cool music just started playing in my ear. Just a second. I don't know where that's coming from. Okay. We also have some really neat vendors.
Yeah. We have like over 20 vendors.
I'm excited about that because we can pick them and it's stuff I want.
Yes. Tallow, moisturizers, herbal ointments, sourdough.
Yeah. Tea blends. I'm excited. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So we hope to see you guys there. Mandy will be back on the show. She just doesn't know it yet.
I just came back.
So thank you guys so much for listening. Again, check out the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can check out below. I'll have Mandy's information as well as a link to purchase tickets to the Homestead Conference, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's just my friend.
Thank you for being here.
I enjoyed it.